All right, let's think about this for a second. What if the next huge leap in AI isn't about making one single AI that's just, smarter, but instead it's about creating a world where millions of AIs can actually work together, like a real team? Well, today we're going to dig into a brand new protocol from Google that's trying to do exactly that.
I mean, we've all seen AIs that can do incredible things, right? They can write entire novels, they can generate complex code. It's amazing. But what happens next? What does the future actually look like when we go from a single powerful AI brain to, well, an entire society of them?
And that right there, that's where our whole perspective on AI really needs a shift. See, the future probably isn't one single super genius AI doing everything. It's more likely a whole team of specialists, right? You've got an AI for your schedule, another one for research, a different one for writing. But just like any team, they're totally useless if they can't talk to each other. So, how do they talk to each other? That's the fundamental roadblock we've hit. I mean, think about it. How does the AI that runs your calendar talk to the AI that books your travel to plan a vacation? The simple and kind of frustrating answer is they don't. They're speaking completely different languages. Okay, so this brings us to our first section, the agent communication problem. And yeah, it's a massive, massive roadblock for where AI is headed. The core of the issue is this. Right now, there's just no universal language for AIs. It doesn't exist. So every agent is basically built in its own little world, its own silo. And this makes any real teamwork, any real collaboration, pretty much impossible. It's like having a room packed with the world's top experts, but none of them speak the same language. That's kind of where we're at with AI agents today. All right, so how do we fix this digital Tower of Babel? Well, that brings us to section 2. This is where a new proposal from Google enters the picture. They've designed something called the A2A Protocol, specifically to solve this problem. Yep, it's called A2A, which stands for Agent to Agent. And maybe the best way to wrap your head around it is to think of it like HTTP for the web. HTTP is that common language that lets all websites talk to all browsers. Well, A2A is trying to do the exact same thing for AIs, a universal language so that any AI can talk to any other AI no matter who built them. Okay, so a universal language for AI. That sounds great in theory, right? But how does it actually work under the hood? Well, that's what we're diving into in section 3. It turns out the whole A2A protocol is built on just 4 core components, and they're surprisingly simple but really powerful. It all boils down to these 4 building blocks. You've got the agent card, the A2A server, the A2A client, and the A2A task. Basically, you need a way for an agent to introduce itself, a way to send and receive messages, and a standard format for the work that needs to get done. So, first up is the agent card. And what is that? It's basically just a simple JSON file. And don't worry, JSON is just a really clean, standardized way to organize information. This card lists out everything another AI would need to know: its name, what it's good at, its capabilities, and of course, how to get in touch with it. And honestly, the best way to think about it, and they say this in the source material, is that the agent card is literally a business card for the AI. Another agent can just read the card and immediately know, yep, this is the expert I need for this particular job. It's such a simple but brilliant idea. Okay, next up, we have the communication engine, the whole system that lets them talk. And it works pretty much exactly like your email. You've got the A2A server, which is the inbox. It's just sitting there, always listening for new tasks coming in. And then you have the A2A client, which is your outbox. That's what an agent uses to send tasks out to other agents. See? Super simple. One listens and one speaks. So, what are these agents actually sending back and forth? They're sending something called an A2A task. And you can just think of this as the official work order. It's this perfectly structured package that has all the instructions, all the parameters, basically every little detail needed to get a job done, from start to finish. All right, so let's recap. We have the business card, we have the inbox and outbox, and we have the work order. So how does a task actually get done? Let's see how it all fits together. The whole communication flow is this really clean 4-step process. First, an agent uses its client, its outbox, to find and read another agent's business card. Step 2, if it looks like a good match, it sends over the A2A task, that work order we talked about. Then, step 3, the second agent server, its inbox, receives the task and gets to work. And finally, step 4, the result gets sent right back to the original agent. That's it, a really simple, repeatable loop. So we've gone through the mechanics of how it works, but now, for Section 4, let's zoom out a bit. What does all this actually mean for the future? What happens when you give the entire world of AI a common language to speak? Because this is where things get really, really interesting. If there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this idea right here. A2A isn't just some clever piece of code. It's the blueprint for building a social network, but for AI. It's a platform where they can find each other, share what they're good at, and team up to create things that are way more powerful than any single AI could ever achieve on its own. And just think about what this unlocks. We're talking about the ability to solve incredibly complex problems just by breaking them down and handing off pieces to different specialist agents. You could have, say, a medical research agent that delegates a massive data analysis job to a statistics agent. That agent crunches the numbers and then sends its findings over to a report-writing agent to summarize everything. It's seamless. This really is the foundation for the next wave of automation. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Once we actually have a world where millions of AIs can all collaborate seamlessly, what's the first big global problem we ask them to solve? Should we point them at curing diseases? Reversing climate change? When you really stop and think about it, the possibilities are just staggering.